Okay, so the number one reason Gen Z does not want to work is the damn finances. Well, the pay. I work right now. I work full-time. I work corporate, believe it or not, even though I rode a motorcycle. But I work corporate, and my pay does not keep up with the cost of living. I live in Toronto, and in order to survive, you need to be at least making $10,000 a month. And when I say survive, I mean a comfortable, decent life where you can not be stressed. If you make less than like $3,000 a month in the GTA, number one, rent. If you're renting a one bedroom, it's already like $1,800 a month. You pay $1,800 a month and you haven't even done anything. That's half of your income gone. And the funny part about that is the average salary. The average person's making around $3,000 a month. So now, in order to be comfortable or at least have like some type of decent wage, you got to work 2 jobs. But now you're working 2 jobs, so then you're burnt out. And you can't enjoy the money. So you're basically just working to survive. And Gen Z, we figured that out. We know that there's no point. There is no getting ahead. So if there's no getting ahead and there's no light at the end of the tunnel, all you're going to do is end up working until you're 65 and then die. So you might as well go ahead. Oh, ambulance. Y'all won't be able to hear me. There we go. But you might as well go ahead and just start your own business or go on welfare or go on government assistance. Because we're in a messed up situation in Canada where if you make too much, then you get no help. But too much isn't even enough to really survive. When I say too much, I mean if you make like $60K a year, that is such a gray area where you make too much money to get help from the government, but you don't make enough to actually survive. So you're just in a cycle, a vicious cycle. And most people I know, like most cars you see in the GTA, look in front of me, this gray one, this brown one, they're not, this Honda Civic. People are not driving Mercedes Benzes and getting confused as to why they can't afford to live in the GTA. They're not like spending a crap ton of money and then being confused. That's not what's happening here. What's happening is people are just trying to live off the bare minimum. They just want to have a house, a car, and a place to stay. That's it. And maybe travel once a year. And you can't even do that. So that's the number one reason Gen Z doesn't want to work. We figured it out. There's no benefit to actually working. You work to just pay enough bills so that you can go back to work. You don't work with any light at the tunnel. When people, like the older generation, talks about how, you know, when they were younger, they did X, Y, and Z, and they were able to save a house. All they did was just work hard. Back then, a house cost less than a new Mercedes now. Back then, you made like $20,000 a year, and the house was like $70,000. Of course, you can work hard and actually buy a house. Nowadays, the house in the GTA, at least, for a decent house, like these houses here, this you're paying like, I guarantee these houses are all $800,000 and above. And we're in Scarborough. We're not in, like, for those of you who don't know, we're not in like the major city. This is not like a nice area, as you can see. This is not like a nice area, and you're gonna be paying like $1 million for that. These are bungalows. These aren't even 2-story houses, and you're paying $1 million. Do you see the problem here? So people are like, what is the point of me working hard? What is the point of me doing the grind? And the older generation doesn't really get that. They think that you could still work at a job for 30 years and get a nice pension and retire. Nowadays, the longer you stay at a company, the less money you're gonna make nowadays. Before you retired with a gold Rolex or whatever, now you have to get a new job every 2 to 3 years, or else you're gonna be killed by inflation. The cost of living, the cost of buying groceries, nothing's keeping up with the pay. So that's the first reason why Gen Z doesn't want to work anymore. The second reason Gen Z doesn't want to work anymore is work-life balance. Nowadays, you have no work-life balance. You work 8 hours, 5 days a week, and you don't get, by the way, you do not get a weekend. The weekend does not exist anymore. The weekend doesn't exist because Monday comes. So let's look at the weekend, right? It's Friday, right? Friday, you can't stay up late. I'm sorry, you can't stay up late on that Thursday because you have work on that Friday. So you actually work that Friday. So that does not count as a weekend. That wasn't a weekend for you. You work that day. Saturday comes. That's your actual weekend because you don't have to get up early and you don't have to go to bed early. So that's your actual weekend, right? But then if we look at Sunday, so when Sunday comes, you got to go to bed early because you got work in the morning. And if you're like me and you hate your job, you have so much stress from the fact that you're going to go back to work the next day and deal with a bunch of BS. So that's not a weekend. You have one day as a weekend. There is no work-life balance. You do 8 hours of work. Even if let's put it two groups of people. There's the construction guys. The construction guys, their body is physically burnt the hell out. Guys doing manual labor, their body is burnt out, right? So they can't actually do anything after work. They're too tired. And then you have the people that work corporate like myself, that work for like insurance or work for like the bank or whatever the case may be. You're mentally burnt out. By the time you're done your 8-hour shift or 9-hour shift, whatever the case may be, you're burnt out. From dealing with managers, dealing with customers, you're burnt out. You have nothing left. So what do? You go home, you turn on Netflix, you watch some sports. By the time you watch a movie, first of all, you commute to work. You're taking an hour to get to work. So let's talk about the commute. The second part of the work-life balance is actually the commute. So you get to work at 8 o'clock, right? That's when your work starts. But that's not when your day starts. Your day starts when you wake up at 7 o'clock because you got to shower, you got to get your lunch ready. God forbid you actually buy lunch at work. You're screwed because now you're just broke. So you buy lunch, right? Or whatever. So maybe you save some time on that. But you still got to wait in traffic for 45 minutes to an hour. I believe that's the average. So for 1 hour, you're traveling to work. And then you spend 8 hours at work, and then you spend another hour getting home. So by the time you get home, it's 8 o'clock, right? Or 7 o'clock, let's say, because you finish at 6, it's 7 o'clock when you get home. It's 7 o'clock now, you watch a movie on Netflix, you watch Rebel Moon or something like that, that's a good movie, you guys should watch it. You watch that movie, all of a sudden, yeah, time to go to bed. It's now 11:30. You gotta wake up for 7 o'clock, because you gotta get to work for 8. Do you see what I'm saying? So you're constantly just getting screwed. There's no work-life balance. By the time you're done work, you're burnt out. You watch one movie, you gotta go to bed. So that's another reason is the work-life balance. It's not worth it. It's not worth your time. The third reason is you'll never own a home. You'll never own a home. So what is the point? Back in the day, you used to be able to work actually work and accomplish something. I'm 26 years old. My grandpa owned a home and was supporting my mother and her uncles and everything on one income. My grandma wasn't working. On one income, they were doing that. Nowadays, that is impossible. So there's no point. You're never getting a home. So what is the point? You're never getting a home. So what are you working for? You're working to do what? Just pay random bills. So yeah, you're never gonna actually be able to buy a home. The home's $1 million. That's the only point. That's the only way to really pass down generational wealth is by having a home. So if you're not gonna buy a home, what do most guys my age do? You go buy a nice car. You go buy the Mercedes, go buy the BMW, and just screw yourself on 84 months of payments because you have to enjoy your life somehow. That's why I bought a motorcycle, because I have to enjoy my life some way. I'm not gonna just like be a slave. You know what I mean? I have to have some enjoyment, I have to have some fun. So that's why you see a lot of people my age complaining about being broke, but traveling and stuff like that all the time. Because what else are they going to spend their money on? They're not going to own a home, right? We all know they're not going to ever own a home. So that's not an issue. That's not like a concern. So if you're never going to own a home, you're never going to have any financial freedom, you might as well just buy a bunch of toys and just have fun, because you got to spend your money somehow. So that's another reason why our generation doesn't want to work anymore. We'd rather just take vacations and just say screw it, take a bunch of vacations, have fun, spend the money how we want to spend it, enjoy life. Because at the end of the day, life is short. It's too short to be working all these hours and never getting ahead. It's not worth it. It's just not worth your time. So that is another reason why Gen Z just doesn't want to work. It just is what it is. Like, why would I work if there's no light at the end of the tunnel? I'm not going to be able to support a family. I'm not going to be able to be that traditional man. There's no point, right? This is what people think, right? Like, for me personally, the way I look at it, you might as well work, obviously, and just have like a side hustle, and then eventually, hopefully, your side hustle could take over your main hustle. Like, I'm trying to do this moto vlogging thing, and then also I have my own business that I'm trying to start and everything, but there's no point in just giving up, I would say. But I do see the perspective of just giving up, because the average person in Canada makes $54,000 a year. That means there's a very high chance that's what you're going to be making. And if that's what you're making, you can't support yourself and support a family anyways. So what's the point? I don't know, man. You guys tell me what your thoughts and opinions are on this. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, let me know what you think. Don't treat me like a side chick. Hit the subscribe button, let people know you were here. And I'm Cam's Corner, and I'm out.